At the beginning of the 2024 NBA offseason, the Detroit Pistons made one of the best business decisions, and that was hiring assistant coach Fred Vinson. But Fred Vinson, he isn't any ordinary assistant coach. He's actually one of the best shot doctors in all of the NBA. And I'm going to come on here and I'm going to be honest, when the Detroit Pistons initially hired Fred Vinson, I had no clue. I didn't know until I made my draft video on Ron Holland, and we were just talking about his game. And we, of course, was talking about his three-point shooting, and one of the viewers let me know in the comment section about Fred Vinson. And then also yesterday I was talking with some of my boys, and Fred Vinson name came up once again. So let me do some reading and some research on Fred Vinson, and he really is one of the best shot doctors in all of the NBA. And I'm so happy to have him alongside the Detroit Pistons. He was formerly coaching with the New Orleans Pelicans, where he did some great work with those players over there, and we're going to get into that really soon. But I just want to say, with hiring a person like Fred Vinson, who's a shot doctor, it kind of lets us know what direction the Detroit Pistons wants to go in. This tells me that we're not going to dump none of our younger players. We're going to keep these guys, and we're going to try to develop them for the long haul, because you don't get a shot doctor to go out and you're going to bring in a bunch of veterans and ship away your young guys, because guys who's been in the league for a long time, they don't really change their shot. So that's what I wanted to say. But the work that Fred Vinson has been doing in the NBA has been elite. He's helped some guys that struggle with three-point shooters become really good shooters in the NBA. One of his most famous projects was Lonzo Ball. And I was actually just reading about this, but Lonzo Ball, his first couple of years, we all know he spent it with the Los Angeles Lakers, was a pretty bad three-point shooter. First year in the NBA, 30% from three-point land. Second year, 32% from three-point land. Then he gets traded to the New Orleans Pelicans, where he meets Fred Vinson, and Lonzo Ball said right before the season started, Fred Vinson came up to him, told him that we're gonna change his shot, and then Lonzo Ball, and I'm paraphrasing here, Lonzo Ball said he said the season is about to start really soon, and then Fred Vinson was like, I'm gonna be with you. He said, I'm going to be with you every step of the way. And then that season, Lonzo Ball shot like 37% from three. And then his next couple of seasons that he played, because he's been banged up with the Pelicans and with the Bulls, he hasn't had a season shooting under 37% from the three. So that's a 7% jump from Lonzo Ball, who was struggling really bad when he came into the NBA as a three-point shooter. And then some of the other players that he's helped on the New Orleans Pelicans that were below average three-point shooters. He's really helped Brandon Ingram with his three-point shot. Herb Jones shot over 40% from the three-point line last season, who did a lot of work with Fred Vinson. Jose Alvarado. And then we look at the New Orleans Pelicans as a team. Last season, they ranked 4th in the NBA in total three-point shooting, and they shot it at 38% as a team. So Fred Vinson, he played a huge role in that. And we come back over here to Detroit. We look at us, who was coming off one of the worst seasons in NBA history, probably the worst season in franchise history. And one thing we struggle with a lot is three-point shooting. I believe we ranked 26th in the NBA as a team when it came to three-point shooting. So Fred Vinson, his tutelage, his knowledge, his methods are definitely needed over here in Detroit. And we look at the predicament of the Detroit Pistons. I think as fans, we all know that the young talent is there on this team. We look at President Langdon. He knows GM Langdon. He knows the talent is on this team. He's coming from the New Orleans Pelicans, where he played a huge role in putting together the solid team that they had in New Orleans. And I think the New Orleans Pelicans have a really good team. The only thing that's been stopping the Pelicans is health. But nonetheless, back to the Detroit Pistons. You look at the young talent on this team, they're really good at a lot of things, but they don't excel at shooting the three-point shot. And it made it so hard for us last season, being a young team, not being able to figure out spacing and not being able to knock down three-point shots. And we know a bunch of other stuff went into the losing as well, but that stuff right there on the basketball court, that played a huge role. So getting Fred Vinson, and hopefully he can work with some of these players Two guys that we know he's going to spend a lot of time with is Jaden Ivey and Asor Thompson. These are 2 lottery picks, and these two guys are extremely talented, and they can do so many things. And why 3-point shooting is so important to these guys is because the best player on our team right now is Cade Cunningham, who's an outstanding playmaker, whether he's making a play for himself or making a play for others. So it's really important for everyone around him who's not a center to be able to at least knock down a wide open 3-point shot. And that's all we want. We look at some of these players that Fred Vinson has worked with, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. He didn't turn these guys into Stephen Curry or anything like that. He just made them more efficient and a threat to knock down a wide open shot. I think that's all we can ask from guys like Asor Thompson and Jaden Ivey, because these guys bring so much to the game of basketball. We don't need them to be Stephen Curry. We just need them to be able to knock down a wide open jump shot. And we look at Jaden Ivey, who brings so much to the game of basketball. He has something that you cannot teach, and that's supreme athleticism. He's one of the fastest players with the basketball in his hands in the NBA. He can jump out of the gym, and then he also knows how to change speeds. He knows how to slow it down. He knows how to speed it up, and he can put pressure on the rim. He can make plays for others. He just needs to work on that 3-point shot a little bit. And his 3-point shot isn't terrible. He shoots around, in his first 2 years in the NBA, around 35 to 36%. That's not nothing too bad, but we know it can get better. And then the same thing with Asor Thompson. Asor Thompson, I really enjoyed watching him at the beginning of the season. Monty Williams, I don't know why he waited so long to kind of try to take Asor Thompson out of the rotation after the season was already over. I would have liked for Monty Williams. Season was already over. Just let Asor Thompson, just let them play. That's only how young players develop. You got to let them play. You got to let them play, and you got to let them figure things out. But watching Asor Thompson at the beginning of the season, it was such a thing of beauty, the way he was defending. He was a tenacious defender, picking guys up full court, not afraid to take on any challenge, not afraid to get embarrassed. There was a couple of times Asor Thompson, some guys made him fall, things like that, but he didn't matter. He still took on the challenge. And when you're a great defender and you're taking on every team's best player, things are gonna happen where you get quote unquote embarrassed. But Asor Thompson, supreme defender. Also, the way he can rebound the basketball on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. Him and Jalen Duren had some outstanding rebounding games that happened in the same game last season. And also, if you like to bet, it was really at the beginning of the season. Really, it was some really good money betting on those two guys rebounding. But nonetheless, a tenacious rebounder. And then offensively, he has so much potential on the offensive side of the ball. Just like Jaden Ivey, he's supremely athletic. He can fly with the basketball in his hands, got good ball control. He's an outstanding finisher around the rim. And then he's a very, very underrated playmaker. He knows how to get guys involved, and he knows how to make the right play. So Asor Thompson just needs to work on his 3-point shot, and now we have the shot doctor for that. And once again, we're not asking him to become Stephen Curry. We're not asking him to become Kevin Durant, Kyle Korver, or an elite sharpshooter, but just a guy that a defense has to respect your wide open jump shot. And then also the rookie that we just brought in, Ron Holland as well. He's not known for his 3-point shooting, but now we have the shot doctor. I don't think that's something that we're going to have to worry about for too long. So he brings so much to the table as well. His ability to handle the ball. He's another guy that does a great job of putting pressure on the rim, whether it's in the half court, in the full court. He's an outstanding defender. He could be a two-way star in this league. So the Detroit Pistons, I think their offseason is just going pretty well. I like that we're taking things really slow. We're going to, because, we've been making videos on the Pistons for a few years now, and you guys know how I feel about the young talent on this team. I love Jalen Duren. I love Jaden Ivey. I love Cade Cunningham. I love Ron Holland. So I'm really happy that the new GM Langdon, I'm glad he's coming in. He's going to try to make things work with these young guys because he obviously sees all the talent that we see as well. And then also, I think the shot doctor is going to be good for Cade Cunningham as well, who I think can shoot the 3 ball, but we all know there's always another gear that you can take things to. So I'm really excited. We added some more shooting to the team, veteran shooting, guys that's been to the playoffs, guys that's been on bad teams before and helped them become playoff teams. Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr. So I expect the Detroit Pistons, like I said, we're not going to jump the gun like we do these last couple of years, but I expect them to be more competitive. I don't expect them to be just winning under 20 games again. I think a good goal for the Detroit Pistons next season is around 30 to 35 wins. If they can get that, that'll be a huge step in the right direction in the Eastern Conference. But I'm really excited about getting Fred Vinson. I can't wait to see him work with our guys, work with our young talents, and see if we can see some of those results on paper, and on the basketball court. But that's going to be it for today's video. That's what I want to talk about with you guys today. Shout out to that viewer. I believe her name is Shannon. I see her in my Pistons videos, comments all the time. So shout out to her for bringing that to my attention. And then also shout out to my boys that I was talking basketball with yesterday that told me about Fred Vinson. But I'm really excited to see how the Pistons look this season. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for my weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.